Hi everyone, how are you doing? So hopefully you and your family members are doing well at this moment. And this world right now is experiencing a crazy uh, experience caused by the coronavirus since early 2020. And most of the world right now is affected and maybe continue to be affected in the next 2 3 months, unfortunately. So I've been tracking this situation since end of 2019, and I talked to many of my friends who currently lives in the United States, and I feel like that I have to stand out to speak uh, about the coronavirus situation right now because it seems like a lot of people living in the United States, including some of the medical personnel, they don't quite understand the severity of current situation, and a lot of the mainstream media uh, are not quite doing the right things either. So I would like to share some of my 2 cents and my understandings, and most importantly about mostly the fact, and some of my personal opinions on all of these issues. So as a newbies in this as a YouTuber, I feel like there are a lot of things I need to improve in the future. So please be patient, and I appreciate your time. And hopefully my information that I shared in this video can help you and your families and make sure they're staying safe and in the next few months. And hopefully this disaster will go away quickly with all of us working together. And some of you may wonder, why am I wearing a face mask? Well, there are several reasons. First of all, it's some personal reasons. I want to protect myself and my families without exposing my real personal information. And secondly, I want to show you guys the importance of wearing masks, particularly at this moment when the coronavirus is rapidly spreading all over the world. It's actually not a very fancy face masks. It's not like an N95 that you normally can buy, because there is a global shortage of face masks all over the world. And basically this one is I just found on YouTube, like you can DIY a face mask easily in a few minutes using simply paper towels and face tissues. It's very convenient, and I will talk about why it can save you and also can save other people's lives possibly. All right, so today in this video, I would like to share several different topics and about the coronavirus. So first of all, I will briefly introduce the background, where its name comes from, and what it might do in your body, and also where does this disease originate. It was first discovered in Wuhan, China. I will try to show some of the early data about their infection numbers and infection rate. And then I will also compare it with the worldwide transmission, and particularly in the United States, about our numbers, how it compares to the early data from China. And I will also talk about the WHO, World Health Organization's recent report on the joint investigation between WHO and Chinese government about the things happened in Wuhan in late January and early February. And also the WHO has some suggested protocols, and I would like to talk about that and how to prevent the spreading of this virus. And lastly, I will wrap up, and I will summarize quickly, and also talk about some of my ideas about what's the topic for the next coming videos and my short-term, long-term goal. So let's get started now. So the name of the coronavirus comes from the shape or the structure of this virus. Basically, it's so unique that it's got a lot of spikes outside its lipid shell. So that's where the name comes from, because it looks like a corona. And what does these spikes do is they're called S protein, so they can disguise themselves, and they're actually the key to fool your body cells, and they will just basically let the virus in. And once the virus get into your body cell, they start very rapidly, very quickly copy themselves. It can and it becomes millions and even billions of copies in a very short period of time. And then your immune system start to attack them and causing a lot of side effects. And basically the symptoms, it is, frankly speaking, it is flu-like symptoms. You will have fever, you will have dry cough, and maybe muscle pain, those kind of symptoms. Okay. But today, I will not talk much about the medical side, because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical expert. I would just like to focus on the statistics and data. Okay, and some information that I found that is trustable and reliable. Okay, so where it comes from? Where did a lot of people wonder, where does it come from? Frankly speaking, at this point, there's no clear statement say where this virus is come from. There are a lot of rumors, a lot of suspicions, but I've read so many of them. I have some of my personal guesses, but I don't want to, my personal opinions will have any bias over this right now. But anyway, even we don't know where this virus come from, but the very first confirmed infection case was discovered in Wuhan, China. Just give you some information about where Wuhan is. It's like right in the center of China. It's like the transportation hub of the whole nation. So because of that, the virus, and also it was like the Chinese biggest Spring Festival period of time. So a lot of people were traveling, over almost a billion people were traveling at that time. So this caused a lot of the very quickly spreading and transmission of this virus at that time. And I do have some data shows that, within the first 2 to 3 weeks, there's over 35,000 people are infected, mostly in Wuhan, China, and also in that Hubei province, but also some adjacent states and some major other cities as well. So this is just how rapidly this virus transmits. It transmits through many ways, and this numbers is very crazy. So after that is like the fourth day of they start reporting the infection numbers. Then the city of Wuhan and the state of Hubei province, they decided to lock down Wuhan city and also the whole state. And a lot of people are forced to self-quarantine themselves in their homes, and they suffer a lot from this disease. So that's why I want to talk about these things in this video, because I've seen many tragedies happen in Wuhan in the past 2 months. So hopefully these tragedies will not occur again all over the world. This is my concern. So we have to be transparent and be humble and be prepared and for this disaster. So after that, for some reason, initially we thought, oh, everything is under control, because most cases was mostly in China and in Wuhan area. Everybody was like, oh, we're doing fine. But suddenly, there are more and more reported cases. First of all, near China, like in Japan, South Korea, started reporting a lot of cases. And then this thing spread into Europe countries, France, Germany, UK, Italy. Oh, they're probably still in a very bad situation right now. And then it's also started widespread in the United States now. But initially, US wasn't paying much attention. That, oh, a lot of people just say, we'll be fine because, it's just like a flu. Coronavirus is not dangerous. Well, what I can show you today is the infection numbers over the last just 2 to 3 weeks. And I think starting late February, the US government started to, the CDC and the government started to take it very seriously now. They're trying to setting out more testing kits and testing them very aggressively. And I will show you this video. 1 second. So this is the plot of infection numbers versus the time for this coronavirus in the United States, and you can see that this infection increases exponentially, and you can see that in this chart. There's equations that almost fit perfectly using this model. It's got an exponential equation, and with the r-squared number, shocking number 0.9983. People know statistics knows that this is like the measure of the accuracy of the model. So the model is pretty reliable, and as of today, March 18th, the number have reached almost 10,000. I think the accurate number is like 9,400, something like that. So if you compare just the numbers about two weeks ago, March 4th, what are these? They're like about 100, 200. So nothing. It's like this thing increased over 40 times just shortly in 2 weeks. And a lot of people, like including CDC and some other medical expert, they believe that the number is still not right because the testing, they haven't completely tested all the potential infected people. So and another thing I worry about most is that if this transmission rate continues, like if everything as predicted by this model, by end of this week, March 21st, we're gonna reach over 20,000, and by end of this month, this number can go up to 100,000, and that is a crazy number, and I, but if you cannot imagine that, just look at the model, r-squared of 0.9983, and if we don't do anything to stop the transmission, and this is what we're gonna end up with by end of this month, and it's crazy. Okay. And so this is another study case. So in this chart, I put a comparison of infection trend for USA and also China. So on the y-axis is still the infection numbers. On the x-axis, I use the days when both governments start to seriously testing the patients. So you can see that both number increase pretty rapidly, and more importantly, because you will see, oh, the China data from China it looks like it's higher because the population, there are more populations living in China. And another interesting thing is that after like the fourth day that city of Wuhan and the state of Hubei, they started to realize that, oh, things are kind of out of control, because they just realized, wow, it's really severe and it's very critical condition. So they started to lock down the city and the whole state eventually, in within 4 days, just right after they started the testing. But if you look at that curve, although you may say, oh, it's no longer that exponentially, it's slowing down a little bit, but still, even after 3 weeks, the number still reached like over 35,000. So it basically means that even the city are locked down, and people are forced to self-quarantine themselves at their homes or somewhere else, and this virus still spread very, very quickly. So
it is working. It somehow slows down, but it doesn't completely still slow it down. So what I can say is, we can use this as a reference, to see what we can do in the United States to avoid more tragedy happening. And it's everybody's responsibility. We cannot completely rely on government to do this. So each of us needs to take some action, and I will share you is some of the recommendations from the WHO.
Oh, by the way, there's another thing about the fatality I forgot to mention. Is this virus is not only very contagious, it transmits very quickly, but also the fatality. It's also have a very high fatality rate, and at least because China right now so far everything seems to be better, in a slightly better situation. They're having currently, as of March 18th, about slightly over 80,000 infection, and because they have much higher data pool, so I think we can somehow use their fatality rates as reference, which is about 2 to 3%. It's still very high compared to less than 0.1% of mortality for regular flu. So this coronavirus is very dangerous. It's much more contagious and also much more fatal. So, if you hear people say it's just a flu, just show them data, show them a fact. So it may be flu-like, but it's a much more dangerous flu. So we need to take it more seriously. We cannot treat it like a regular flu. All right. So that's something I want to share now. So, from the last two figures, probably everybody should realize we're not in a very good shape right now. So we have to do something. So what we can do, there's a lot of things. There's like explosive information about how important social distancing is, which is, I agree, social distancing is very important. But just looking at the city of Wuhan, locked down the whole city, everybody have a mandatory quarantine at home, it still doesn't completely stop the transmission of the virus. So there's definitely more we need to do. So we need to keep still doing the same thing, keep social distancing as recommended by many experts. So the WHO had a report, and its full name is called, everybody can go online, it's free for the public, and the name is called Report of WHO China Joint Mission on Coronavirus Disease 2019. And the report was released in late February 2020. So everybody can find it. It's got like 40 pages, very thorough report about all kinds of detailed information about how the virus was found, how they also have a lot of recommendations. And I'm not going to go through details today, but in the next video, I might pick that as a topic. So generally speaking, they made a few suggestions. So what we need to do is that we have to do the personal hygienes, keep social distancing, avoid having direct or close contact with people, wash your hands more frequently, and also use hand sanitizer if possible, if available. If not, actually, I just found out it's out of stock. A lot of places they don't have those, but there are a lot of YouTube videos. YouTube is really great. You can just find how to DIY your hand sanitizer, how to DIY even the wipes, anything they can do. But there's another thing is I feel really, I don't know, a little frustrated about is the importance of face masks has been ignored or neglected, at least in the Western countries. I'm not saying it's going to 100% work, but the science of the face mask, first of all, this virus may transmit. It can transmit through the droplet. It also may transmit through the airborne. We know the virus molecules are relatively small, 100 nanometers or 200 nanometers. This homemade masks, it may not work. Even N95 may fail sometimes. It's never 100% filtration. But first of all, it protects you from touching yourself, because the close contact, if your hands or touch any surface that has the virus, it's gonna stay there for a long time. If you then touch your nose, your mouth, your face, your eyes, the virus can get into your body very easily. So that's one way you can prevent. So secondly, this the droplet. Everybody know that the flu or anything is transmitted through the droplet, right? So when you're talking to each other, one way you can keep social distancing, like 6 feet away or something, but wearing a mask will still dramatically reduce the chance of the transmission by droplets, right? That's the sign. It's never going to be 100% though, of course, everybody knows, but it may help 50%, 70%, who knows? It helps, right? And I think the media or the government doesn't want to cause a big panic, which I understand. Some people just always panic. So, but there are simple ways that you can just use a paper towel and face tissues to easily, 2 minutes, you make a single use. It just costs you 10 cents, 20 cents roughly, but it's a single use. So I would suggest that if possible, when you have a close meeting with someone, or you want to go to public areas like a grocery store, shopping mall, maybe even public areas. So put something like this. It protects you for a short period of time. Maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Any chances you'd have a close contact with someone, just protect yourself. And also you may protect others, because another problem of this virus is that it's got a potential of 5 to 10, at least 5 to 10 days of incubation period of time. And during this time, you may have no symptoms at all. Some people even have it's very rare, but some people even have 3 weeks, they don't show any symptoms, but they can still pass this virus to other people that just unconsciously, because you don't know that. So I think it's a good practice. I know there's a lot of bias and debate about but I feeling that I strongly ask people to think twice on this situation, because if you trust all the infection numbers, the chart, the model, it's pretty dangerous right now. It also depends on where you live or anything, but if you do see this video, please pass the information to you and your family members. Just let them know, and hopefully this will help. I don't know how much it helps, but in theory it should help, right? So it doesn't, and plus it doesn't hurt. It's not like you're gonna buy N95. N95 I recommend, if you do have one, including myself, we should donate it to the people who really need it, like the doctors, nurses. They're really in need of that. But for regular people, just a simple mask, and if even homemade, it should protect you, right? All right. It must be noted that this simple DIY mask should not be used when you potentially get exposure to long-term exposure to coronavirus. It may be used only if you think you're going to a general area, like a group, when you go to a grocery store for a short time, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, you can use it. But for long term, do not use it, okay? And you also use it with caution, because in a real face mask, the real face mask has a hydrophobic surface layer to prevent the droplet diffusing into the mask and getting contact with your mouth and nose. But this one, we do not have that hydrophobic coating. And the paper towels or anything, face tissues, they're supposed to be hydrophilic. So again, don't use it for a long time. Only use it for a short time and with caution. All right. I think I spent a lot of time already. So let's just wrap up. So just to summarize that, this again, I know some people will panic, but I have listed some of the fact about the virus, how contagious it is, and we have to take immediate action. And it's not just the government's responsibility, it's up to you and me and everybody. We should also do as a local small community, helping each other, helping older people, because this one affect more of that. And I have parents, I have in-laws with me, and we do need to protect them. So, and also the kids as well. So one of them is like the media always talk about hygienes, wash your hands, those kind of things. And the one thing I want to add in this video is, please, simple masks that you don't need to buy. You can just work at home, Google, YouTube, search how to DIY face masks. There are tons of videos that are really available. Just if you cannot do it, you can share, you can make more for your family members, for everyone. Single use, very convenient. It doesn't hurt, right? So I just want people to be more realistic, to be more I don't know. Please. So yeah, now I'll just wrap up this video. So for the next video, I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm looking for more comments. If you like, please, if you like this video, please click like and recommend to your friends. And I will start talking some interesting topics, and I have some of my own ideas about, for example, I will go through briefly about the more scientific ways about the virus, what I know, what I learned from my friend, so about these things. And also I will go through some of short-term and long-term plan in the next videos. And sorry about this. This is my very first video, and I really, because I think it's really urgent right now. So I have to do this really quickly. I make this videos probably in a couple hours. And I'm sorry about the low quality, but I will make sure in the future I learn when to buy enough equipment and learn how to use the recording software. I'll make it better, I promise that. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that there's a Chinese American, a lot of Chinese immigrants, they created a website called G News, G like George, news.org. There's a lot of information about the truth and the fact happening in China and regarding the coronavirus, and it may be related to your personal life. Even you're living outside China, maybe you're in US, you're in Europe. If you have time, go to the website, check out some of the news there. I think it's really good information, and you will see that a lot of Chinese people, they're trying to help themselves, also helping others to save this world. So again, lastly, this disease is not something fun. We're in a very seriously dangerous situation right now. So everybody, please take it seriously to protect you, your family, your friends, and our future. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I really appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you next time.